Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Obviously disappointed in the loss on Saturday night. Thought we had ample opportunities. Really good start in the second quarter that kind of got us through the first half, and I thought some guys really stepped up and played when we had some guys injured. I thought Will Howard was extremely good, extremely confident and poised when he came in, ripped some balls, ran the ball well, led the offense, did some really good things. Another guy that jumps out at me is Nick Allen. Daniel Green went out, and Nick came in and I thought played a terrific game. All that being said, in the second half we didn't capitalize on opportunities. We made some mistakes on defense with some alignments, missed some tackles, gave up a long third down with a screen pass that we can't have happen, but it did, and they capitalized on that and got a touchdown and gave up an explosive play, the one that Julius got hurt on. So those were another 7 points there, and then we moved the ball some in the second half, although we didn't have it very much because we didn't get enough stops on defense at all. We just we'd get into scoring range and didn't capitalize. Missed a one field goal that Will went down on that play, and I thought about going for it on fourth down, but didn't want to put Rubes in that spot with Will went down. Probably wish I would have at that time now, but I didn't. And then Will just misfires on a ball to Cade, or it's 38-35, and maybe we have a chance after that, but we didn't make that play, and then missed that kick, and then it was a 10-point game, and not much time was left. So proud as heck of the guys' effort and resolve. They know that they missed opportunities and had an opportunity to win that game over a really good TCU team. I think they're a complete team on all three phases, and all that being said, I still thought we had an opportunity. We just didn't. We didn't close it out, and so we got to go back to work this week. And we got a lot of guys beat up that I don't probably have a lot of information for you just after a Monday practice, but we'll see who's available. But in hindsight, or in retrospect, we've got to move forward with the guys that we know are going to practice, and those guys got to be ready to play.
Well, you just said there's not a lot you can share, so of course I'll ask you about
Yep.
But many of those injuries appear to be not season ending.
Correct.
Wear and tear.
Correct. I think more than wear and tear. But I don't think we lost anybody for the season. In fact, I'm positive we didn't lose anybody for the season. But there's a handful of guys that left the game early enough that I don't know if they'll be ready for this game or not. There's some other guys that were hopeful that based on muscular, based on whatever, I'll talk to the trainers, and the trainers will talk to the doctors. It's not just something where, we'll rub a little dirt on it and let them go and be ready to play. They've got to be effective when they're ready to play. And so time's gonna tell this week. We're going to not have some answers legitimately probably till Thursday on a few guys.
Okay, I'm going to pull a friction here and pull out some statistics.
Okay.
But I want to be clear that I did not do any of this work.
Who did?
One of our
Okay.
drivers. Now, he threw out the pandemic season because that was just an aberration
Okay.
season. In games that you have led at halftime or were tied,
Mm-hmm.
if you score in the third quarter, field goal or anything, you're 13-0.
Okay.
In games in which you don't score and you led or tied at halftime,
Mm-hmm.
you're 6-5.
Yep.
Does that just underscore the importance of coming out of that locker room and regaining the momentum?
Probably. There's a lot of things that lead into that. It's not just one side of the ball or the other. It's not probably a call here or there. Sometimes you got to give credit to where credit's due, and I thought TCU was go to that game. I thought it's a pretty good football team, and they did some nice job of making of adjustments. And Colin and I talked about it. I mean, we struggled to get points on the board in the second half. I talked to Joe about it. We struggled more of correctable things. We just didn't tackle very well. So, that stat is what it is.
And also, if you look at what TCU does offensively, they're pedal to the metal. They just don't, what they did in the first quarter and the fourth quarter didn't seem to really change.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what you need to do in this conference with these offenses that can score so quickly and come back from it?
Is to do what? I'm sorry.
Just keep trying to score.
Yeah.
Manage the clock too early.
Yeah, and I don't think we tried to manage the clock too early by any means. But they run a lot of plays. Texas Tech runs a lot of plays. Oklahoma runs a lot of plays. Everybody's trying to run a lot of plays. We're running more plays. All that being said, their first drive was an 8-minute drive, not a 2-minute drive. And in that 8-minute drive, we've got a 3rd and 17, and they get an 18-yard screenplay. You can take statistics all you want and throw that out the window. We got to make a play. We run the wrong route, or we've got a kid wide open going into the north end, and we run the wrong route, or it'd be a touchdown. So little plays, but we got to make those plays. That's the bottom line. It just comes down to however fast you are on offense, whatever you do on defense. Jacob Parrish has a pick. Foot's barely out of bounds. That takes points off the board. I thought Sincere made a really good play on a break on a ball it's a 50-50 ball. Their kid really knocked it away from Sincere. It just comes down to little things, little plays here and there, and at times we're making them and at times we're not.
So specifically on Adrian, would he be trending as one of those game times?
Yeah. He didn't do anything yesterday. I don't know if he'll be available. I don't. Last week we tempered some things with him in practice, and he felt pretty good. And as the game got started, he couldn't go, and that's the bottom line. And that's Adrian, the medical people, and our trainers. And luckily we had Will Howard that could come in and play. That's played football for us. And so I hope Adrian's available. I don't know if he'll be available. And there's other kids like that. And so, we tried to manage our way through Deuce Vaughn being banged up, and he carried the ball not as many times as he typically does. We hope Deuce is healthier this week. We'll see.
What do you think you learned about your linebacker core that you didn't go into that game and have to shuffle some of the guys in with that?
Well, we just had to play more plays. I didn't learn anything about Nick Allen, because I think Nick Allen's a starting linebacker and a really good linebacker, and he just gets opportunities. He just makes plays. I think Austin Moore's playing as good as any linebacker that we've had here. So when Deuce went down, other than the depth, we didn't miss anything as far as Nick can make plays, and Deuce knows that as well. We played Bo Palmer that hadn't played any plays, and he played some snaps, and that was good for Bo. And I talked to Bo yesterday. You may have to play significant amount of snaps this week. Gavin Forche may have to play significant amount of snaps this week. We know Des Purnell is going to have to play significant amount of snaps this week with Khalid missing the first half. But at least we know all these things on Monday, and we're able to practice those guys Monday through Thursday, as opposed to a guy gets hurt in the first quarter, a guy gets hurt in the first half, and now those guys are thrust into it. Although they've practiced, you guys are well aware that the ones get more reps than the twos. Now those twos are going to get more reps this week, and the threes become the twos. And Kansas State's not the only team that's beat up. That I know for a fact. And so nobody's going to feel sorry for you. It's the next man up mentality. And whoever is out there, we have confidence as a staff, we have confidence as a football team that they're going to allow us and give us an opportunity to be successful.
And is Will Howard, do you have a clarity on him? Is he like?
Yeah, he will be able to play. Yeah, Will got banged up, as we know, and he came back into the game. So his was something that the trainers were able to address. And if Adrian doesn't go, then will play.
Coach, you've got two big running quarterbacks. Is there a specified wildcat quarterback outside of the quarterback?
There could be. I haven't talked to Colin if that's something he's looking at. It's just there's some positives to it about giving another guy the ball back there, putting Deuce and DJ back there or something is a similar thing. But it changes what you do defensively, not knowing if those guys can throw now. I know that they can, but that still, it's different. Do you even cover some guys? And so that's probably a question for Colin.
Where's Toby Osatami in his development, and is he Sam or Michael in that?
He could be Sam, or he could be a Mike, or he could be a Will. Right now, he's playing special teams for us. He's not ready to play defense. We have a few games for Toby, and we chose to use one of those against TCU because of the amount of injuries that we have. We have to make the decision if we would use him this week. We haven't decided that. He's in the mix for special teams, not right now for defense. Jake Clifton would be really kind of the next guy up on defense. And Jake, we're playing as a true freshman. We've already decided that he's on all the special teams, and he'll get some of that work along with Crew Jackson in replace of Khalid for that first half.
And can you pinpoint the screenplay, the 3rd and 17? The breakdowns?
I wish I could. We didn't retrace well enough on the defensive front, and I didn't think we attacked it well enough in the back 8. You know, we rushed 3, and we didn't attack it well enough. Didn't get off of a block, and something that I told Joe was beating himself up, and we were all in defense saying that's made a good call. We got to make a play, and we didn't make a play.
Khalid, you're out for the first half. Do you have to do anything differently in practice to maybe get for help more?
Yep. He just makes that switch, and Khalid will take more of the reps with the 2s, knowing that he's going to get a chance to play in the second half. But you got to also give another guy reps, because if Dez gets banged up or needs a blow, which he's going to based on how many plays that Oklahoma State's going to run against us, you got to have another guy ready. And that's where I think Jake Clifton or Crew Jackson will come into play.
There's going to be kind of discussed having to navigate some of your guys' injuries. But do you have to do the same thing for Oklahoma State? They got quite a few players out there.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Nobody feels sorry for anybody. Everybody's got some injuries right now, and as you go out there and your GAs and stuff check people off to say if they're there and not there, it's probably easier at home to disguise or hide somebody because you don't have to count them like you do on the road when they're 70 and you know that, oh, this kid's not on the trip even. You still got to see what they do schematically and realize that you're probably not going to make wholesale changes schematically, which we won't either offensively or defensively, based on Nick Allen playing and not Daniel Green, or Dez and not Khalid. Yeah, there's a different skill set and some things. Same thing at the quarterback position. But you can't – it's too late in the season on – 3 days of prep, basically. Plus, you got a lot of guys beat up to say, hey, we're going to all of a sudden go to a 4-down, or all of a sudden going to go to a whole different scheme offensively.
Is there a position group that comes to mind, or a phase of your team that you have to get more out of than what you currently are to accomplish what you want?
No, it's probably every position needs to probably give a little bit more, play a little bit better. I think, I look at our offensive line with a bunch of veteran kids that are playing well. They missed a couple of IDs that I'm sure they're kicking themselves saying, man, we had a chance to score on I know one play, and a second play would have been an explosive play, and we mis-ID'd something, or we have a hat on everybody and a chance to score. And those were in the second half. So it's collectively we all can probably give a little bit more.
Coach, obviously you don't want this to happen, but if you were in the same situation you were last week down to the 3rd quarterback, who would be the 4th quarterback?
Jaron. Yep, and Jaron will take some snaps this week. And he always has taken a few snaps. But right now we'll go with Will, and then Jake and Jaron, and we'll find out as the week goes on with Adrian. The positive thing about Adrian, he's an older guy, sees a lot of pictures, very intelligent at practice. We need to see him going full speed so that he feels comfortable going full speed, and if that happens on Thursday and he can go, then we'll play him. If he can't do it on Thursday, then we probably won't.
And then, you talked about injuries being a part of the game as well, but on Oklahoma State's side, like Derek mentioned, there's a lot of injuries for them. Does it make it harder for you to game plan personnel-wise simply because you don't know who's going to play?
No, not really. No, I'd say the same thing about them. They're not going to change what they do based on if Will Howard or Adrian Martinez is the quarterback, and we can't do it based on any of the injuries that they've had. And you get a body of work when you've played somebody the last 3 years like we have, and they're part of our self-scout in the spring and the summer, that they're going to do what they do and we're going to do what we do.
And on Saturday, it seemed to be a lot more Was that just kind of something you saw from TCU's defense? You felt like you could take advantage of?
No, we were listening to you guys of the short passing game, started to throw it deep. You know, it just burned in my mind, Fitz. You know, and I finally said to Colin in the first quarter, we've got to make some changes. I don't talk to my own. I thought it was some things that we saw that we could take some shots on and be aggressive on some things. Cade Warner made a phenomenal play. Even when the ball was in the air, I think we were all like, uh-oh, because I thought the kid was going to pick it. And Cade made a great play. I think it was the play before or two plays before. I thought Will ripped the ball into Phillip between two defenders. And on Malik's play that was almost a touchdown, I thought Will ripped it between over a linebacker, between a safety and a corner. It was fun. It was fun to see Will having that kind of confidence. And I thought DJ Giddens made as good a catch as I've seen as a running back. And I thought Will threw it in a spot that only DJ could catch it. So those are confidence-boosting things, not only for Will, but I think for the entire offense, that, you know, we can stretch the field because we have some guys that can go get the football.
Spencer Sanders was one of those guys on Saturday against Texas, might not play, but he ended up playing. What your thoughts on Spencer Sanders?
Yeah, he's a competitor. He's, you know, we're going in from the fire to the next one with Duggan to Spencer Sanders. Spencer Sanders has been really good against us the last 3 years, and you know, he's got a good supporting cast. They're big up front. He's got a number of people that he can distribute the ball to, but he can beat you with his arm and he can beat you with his legs. And you know, I did not get a chance to watch the most of the game. I saw obviously clips and stuff of the Texas Oklahoma State game, but I watched the first quarter and a half, and it looked to me like Texas had control a little bit, and then you have a kid like that can flip it that fast, and he did, and they made some stops on defense. I thought they played really good defense from watching it on tape in the second half and shut some things down that they weren't able to do that first half. And then I thought Spencer was really good in that second half.
And back to your defense, for a lot of the game you didn't have Daniel Green, and you mentioned defense needed to make some plays, and it didn't happen. Not a tough question to ask, but is it tough to keep momentum sometimes on defense when you don't have a Daniel Green out there, the quarterback of the defense?
No, we just can't let one play affect us to the next play, you know, and that's the thing, that it's human nature. Somebody gets beat on a play, or we don't get off the field on a 3rd and 5 and they get a first down, and then we're thinking about that one, and rather than it being 2nd and 8, our issue was, I thought Miller was a great running back. I thought he was exceptional. We have him hit for 2nd and 8 and 2nd and 9, and somehow it's 2nd and 4 and 2nd and 3. That's demoralizing, because now you're not getting into those 3rd and longs where you can let Felix and Nate and Eli and some of those guys lay their ears back and rush. They've got to play, you know, kind of a run-pass deal on 3rd and short. And, you know, so it not having Deuce, not having Julius. I was proud of Jacob Parrish. Parrish played most of the second half. I thought he did a really nice job. You know, but it's the next guy up, and all these kids are going to get a lot of opportunities this week in practice.
With, on defense, are any of the guys ruled out, or Deuce, or Julius? Do you think there's a chance they'll play?
I would say it's a better chance of Julius right now. And I know Deuce is getting some other things done today, but I won't probably know until late this afternoon what they find out.
Also, with the quarterback run game, even though Will's a good runner, it seems like they're different types of runners.
Yep.
Does that change some of the things you do in that respect?
Well, one's 220 and one's 245, you know, and so Will is going to have to get north and south and stick it up in there. Adrian, you're right, it's a little different. He's going to try to he can stick it up in there, and he's going to beat you on the edge and stuff, and Will's not slow by any means, but they are able to operate our offense pretty much the same. I don't see Colin making many changes based on who's playing quarterback, because they both have a skill set that allows them to run the football. That's It's probably about deep passes.
Okay, no, I got it. I'm sorry. Special teams, first couple of weeks, you get some big plays there. Haven't had the necessarily the last few. What's it going to take to get that back going?
Yeah, I thought we had a really good kick return on Saturday that almost busted, probably should have busted for a touchdown. We had a guy clean on a punt, and we missed the block, or we would have blocked a punt. So to kind of the same thing we were talking about, we have a couple of opportunities where it's there and we didn't finish the play. And so we've got to keep doing what we're doing because I like the schemes we're drawing up. But we just didn't make a couple of plays that in the past probably we would have made. And so some of that is young guys, and they're learning, and we have to play those young guys. They're going to be better for it. But we're going to keep believing that we have two good returners in Malik and Phil and try to get them the football. And as you guys have seen, punting is just way different nowadays. I mean, there's so many rugby styles. There's so many different formations. The ball's going to hang up there. This was a windy game, so it was a tough one into the wind to be able to get a chance to return a punt. But without question, that's a phase that we've been probably even with the last couple of weeks that we need to be having as an advantage.
And what has your message been to Chris Klieman? Is it still the golf analogies?
Yeah, that's a good question. Chris is busting his tail. He missed one probably that I think he should have made. The other one I think was a 50-50 one that I could have probably bailed him out and went for it on 4th and 2. But I didn't, and he would have said, Coach, I can make that kick anyway. And Chris has talked about this. We've had a conversation with him. We're going to evaluate this week. Ty may kick one, a PAT or a field goal to get us going. Might see a freshman out there in Leighton Simmering. He might kick one. Not that we're truly opening the competition, but we're going to have some competition out there this week, and I think that'll fuel Chris. I know that Ty's excited because he loves to be out there, and I think Leighton even has a chance. So we're going to kick another day this week when we typically would, and see how it plays out. And Chris is fine with that. I mean, Chris knows that he's got to perform, and I've got the utmost confidence in Chris, but we've got to make sure and continue to have competition.
You've already touched on this in the past in some ways or another, but how rare is it to have, especially in the transfer portal area, to have a guy like Will Howard on your team?
Well, it's huge because of the opportunity Will had as a true freshman here, and a lot of things went awry in that pandemic year, but he grew a ton from that year. And then he was going to sit that year, then sit this year, or sit last year, and then Sky got hurt, and we had to play him, and he's a team guy. And then this year we kind of made it a competition, but if he didn't win the competition, we were going to do everything we could to preserve his year for him, hopefully at Kansas State. I think that's his plan, and that's our plan, is he stays at Kansas State. I don't go up to Will Howard and say, I hope you're not transferring today, because Will Howard's not that guy. Will Howard loves K-State, and I think everybody that had any doubts about Will Howard or doubted Will Howard either was like, ooh, maybe I was wrong about that kid, but I know this. I smiled ear to ear for him because he's dealt with a lot of ridicule for a couple of years, and he just goes to work. On Friday, great example, he has no idea if he's going to play a snap at all. And on Friday, we're doing all of our meetings and stuff. He's out on our game field with a net, throwing and working his own craft. Not because he figured Adrian was going to play 3 plays, but just because he wants to continue to improve and continue to get better and continue to push it so that when his opportunity comes, whether it was last week, this week, or whenever it is, he would be ready. That's the sign of a winner. That's the sign of a competitor. That's the sign of the culture that we want here, that you have a kid that says, if I'm not the guy, I'm going to prepare like I am, and when that opportunity comes, I'm not missing it. And to watch him play last week, I was so excited for him, and every one of our every guys on the team were excited for him. And so he's going to play this week. To whatever everybody's asked so far, Adrian's not out for the year. And so we still feel like we have 3 left with Will. That's why we didn't play him in South Dakota and Missouri to end the game and stuff, so that we could be strategic about when he would play. He may not play this week. Adrian may be fine to play. I don't have any idea. But if he's not, Will's going to play. And then we still have 2 more games.
Can you just kind of explain what your philosophy is during the week of practice with guys who are injured? Do they have to practice at any point in the week to be able to play on Saturday? Or
No, or we wouldn't have a lot of guys playing on Saturday. And it's difficult because part of it is, how long have you been in the program? What do you know about the defense? Daniel Green's missed some time in practice this year, but Daniel Green's played so much football. Felix has missed some time. He knows he's played so much football. If it's Nick Allen, I know what he can do. It's harder when you have a young player that needs to see pictures, and there's a fine line between all these guys that are hurt that you hope play and you say, let's not practice very much. Let's just walk through for all these guys, and so that they see, quote, the pictures. That's really important to us, to see the pictures. Our coaches are always saying, we got to see the pictures, But to a younger player, to see the picture but not see it full speed probably isn't helping them that much. So this is a prime week for us to say, Cooper Beebe's going to practice anyway. And Cooper would say, we'll go as long as you need me to go, Coach. And Gilly and Hadley and KT and Duff, all those guys are healthy, and they're going to practice. And if that means we got to practice an extra 10 minutes so that we get a backup corner, a backup linebacker, Dez, a backup safety, more reps, then we're going to do that so that those guys are ready to play when it comes full speed. And last week we probably backed off a little bit too much, hoping some guys would be healthy and ready to go. Not just Adrian. A lot of guys that were still nicked up from the Iowa State game, and it probably set back some of the guys that all of a sudden were thrust into that role. So this week, we'll walk through much shorter period of time. Those guys can learn off the film, but we're practicing these guys that probably are going to play.
can you describe what the process of getting ready to play is for an injured player who doesn't have much to do in practice other than the walkthroughs like you mentioned?
Yeah, they're in with Mindy and her crew all day long. They start at 7 in the morning with treatments, somehow go to class, come back, get a weight room session in, and that's typically probably modified with True, back in with Mindy and her crew, go grab a bite to eat, come back, do more treatment, meet with the coaches, and then during practice, we have them seeing the pictures, but there's certain times where I know they're not going to be needed, and they'll go with True if they can ride a bike, if they can do something else to try to keep their cardio going, and then the process starts again after practice with more treatment. And it sucks to be injured. I'm just telling you, guys who think, oh, this, it's a grind on those guys, a grind as much mentally as it is physically because of the amount of time that they have to spend. And is that required? It's required because they want to play. So it's a long week for them, long day for them.
Last obviously you still control your own destiny, Coach. Is that something that you have to grind into the players this week?
They know it for sure. We've talked about it. We talked about it yesterday. Everything is still in front of us, but it's all about our preparation, and this is the next opportunity. Now we got 5 one-week seasons left, and we've got a really good Oklahoma State team coming in here to play, and we haven't been at home for a while, so it's going to be kind of fun to be back out at the Bill. But they're well aware of all the circumstances.
One other thing, Coach Bendy in his news conference really had some nice things to say about the college atmosphere here at Kansas State. What kind of home field advantage is that for you guys?
It's a great home field advantage, with our band, with our student section, with our community, and the fact that it's going to be sold out again for our players. That I'm excited for our guys to be. It's been since October 1st since we've been back here. That's a long time, and the fact that we've played 3 of our first conference games on the road and we're 3-1. You know what? We're doing okay. If we come to work this week and have a great week and lay it on the line. We'll see what happens, but I'm not disappointed in our guys at all. I mean, we're 5-2 and 3-1 in the league, and you guys know how tough this league is. And we've gotten 2 big road wins. We had a chance to get one and didn't get it done, and now we get to come back home.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Huh? I forgot that about earlier.